On March 20th, 2010, a great friend of mine that I knew for over 25 years, Bruce Bone, was marrying Beth Powers Bone. And I got to be the best man at his wedding. And it was an amazing experience. I'm sure I made a lot of fun of him. I can't remember the speech to a T, but we used to haze each other all the time. So a lot of that went on by not only me, but by others. And it was an amazing day. He was early 40s. I think he was 41 or 42 at that time. So he was one of the last of us to get married, the last holdout. And he finally met the love of his life and got married. So it was a great day for all of us. He then went on his honeymoon. And his honeymoon, I'm sure he had a wonderful time, although I never really got to hear about it, because on the first day back, his first day back to work, on his way driving home late at night on Highway 50, which is an area in Sacramento, California. It's in the Placerville area. A wrong way driver on the freeway that was drugged up and drunk killed him. A wrong way crash on the freeway. He had no time to react. So the only blessing, so to speak, is he died probably instantly. It was very, very hard to, just a few weeks after being his best man, to give his eulogy. Grieving is something that we all do differently. April 7th is the 15-year anniversary of his death. As you can tell, you still feel it like it's yesterday. Well, in this podcast, we want to talk about how to grieve. And not really how do I grieve, but how do you talk to somebody who just lost a loved one? Because as terrible as this was for me, losing one of my best friends, it pales in comparison to what Pat and Walt, his parents, went through. I didn't know how to talk to them. I didn't know what to say. I was a grown man. I wasn't a kid, even though he had just gotten married. He got married late in life. I said all kinds of things that now I think were probably wrong, that probably did make them feel good, made them feel worse. So nobody teaches us this stuff. How do you talk to somebody that's just lost a parent or a loved one? It's easier, I would say, than somebody who's just lost their son or daughter. But how do you do that? So that's what we want to talk about. Now, this podcast was spurred by somebody else's presentation I recently attended. It was a gentleman by the name of Darren Sugiyama. I don't really know Darren. He's a colleague in an organization that we are both in. But boy, did his talk touch me. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about Darren's story because I want to tell you about what he went through, because he is more of an expert than I on being on the other side of that. So Darren is in the financial planning advisory business also. And he had an amazing, beautiful son, all kinds of experiences with them. They used to surf together. They were tight, you could tell, just from some of the videos and pictures that he shared. And he was very engaged as a father. And in 2024, his son went to visit some relatives in Florida. His son was 14 years old. This hits home because I have 14-year-old triplets that just turned 15. His son was playing with a gun on Facebook with his friends when the gun went off and killed him. Tragic for sure. Could spur all kinds of conversations for sure. But what Darren in his talk was about is how people interacted with him and his wife, how they talked to him. Grief comes in many, many forms, and that kind of grief is deep. He's like me, like I'm sitting here telling his story and can hardly hold it together. He's crying on stage trying to tell this story in front of 200 people. And it was powerful and it hit home because it's so real. But he was saying how he cries himself to sleep every night now, and it's only a year. But you look at this guy and he's a together successful guy, but he's not. He's broken. He's broken inside. So he was saying that he has moments that he looks like he's together. He has moments that he actually laughs and he has laughter now. And he has moments that are fun and that are enjoyable. And just for a glimpse, he forgets what happened. But those are the moments. Those are the moments. Those aren't his everyday. His everyday is terrible. He's living a nightmare. He's lost his son. He tells a story of what to say and what not to say to somebody that is grieving like this. Some of the things that he pointed out, and he pointed out something perhaps I should point out right now. Don't take this personal if you've said these things. I've said some of them. But maybe I'm better positioned the next time I'm talking to somebody who's lost a loved one, and maybe you can be too. So I want to tell you what it's like from his perspective, what it was probably like for Pat and Walt's perspective. So from his perspective, when people would say things like, "How are you doing?" His response inside was, "How the F do you think I'm doing?" He wanted to bash their heads in inside. Now outside, he smiled and said, "I'm doing fine. We're getting through it. Thank you for asking." But inside, that's not what he felt. So that's not something that you should say. It hurts. They're in pain. They're grieving. Other things that are commonly said that we think are good, but that are really not so good, are things like, "If there's anything I can do for you, just let me know." Now that sounds innocent enough. But somebody grieving, they're not going to reach out and ask for your help. They are struggling just to get through the day. So, what should you do? Well, there are some things that he pointed out that were very helpful. So let's go to the what you shouldn't do. I think I did all those things for Bruce's parents, and boy, I wish I wouldn't have. How are you doing? What a stupid question. But it's innocent enough. And it's what we always say. We say it so commonly. But think about that question. How dumb is that? Of course, they're doing absolutely terrible. It's the worst thing ever happened to them in their life. How are you doing? What are some things that are good? So I will tell you a few things with Bruce. So one of my friends did something that I never really thought about how Pat and Walt felt about it, but I bet they felt very, very good. And what he did, I'm not very tattooed, if you see me. He's got tattoos. He got a tattoo on his calf that one of the things our group of friends love to do is go to Cabo. And this particular friend and I each bought timeshares, and we brought all our friends to Cabo every year for years. And we have memories with Bruce doing fun things, doing things we shouldn't be doing, but just having a blast in Cabo. Some of the best memories. And there's a bar that we used to go to that I go every time I go there, and I always have a drink just to remember Bruce. He got a tattoo, kind of a palm trees, and it's his way of a little memorial that lists Bruce. I think it's when he was born and when he passed away. And it's just his little memorial for Bruce. That's doing something. That powerful. I bet it made his parents feel great. What else could you do? Another friend of his, you can tell I was the best man, but maybe not the best friend as to what you should and shouldn't do. So another friend of his, Brett, he started a memorial golf tournament. And coming up here in a few weeks, we will be doing the 15th Memorial Golf Tournament. And we all go. I'm not much of a golfer, but I like to have a beer. So these are my beer buddies from growing up. We all will drink beer and play bad golf, and we all will be laughing and remembering the stories of Bruce. So I do actually remember one thing that I did that was good. And that was his eulogy. So his eulogy, I think I was maybe the second or third person that got up and spoke. And they all said things. I'm sure they all meant well. They said good things and bad things. And many of these were his direct family. I think all of them were, until I spoke. And I got up and I took a little different approach. And Bruce worked for Home Depot since high school. And he just advanced there. He went to junior college, but he never graduated. I don't know if he graduated from junior college, but he never went to a 4-year degree. He just worked there and built a nice career there and did well. He had a bathroom. He was roommates with Brett, who started the golf tournament. People were talking about how great he was and remodeling things and everything else. And I got up there, and the first thing I did is I basically roasted him. And I went up there and I said, I don't know this person that you're describing, Bruce. The Bruce I knew, he had been remodeling his bathroom for 3 years, and I think it's still not done. And he worked at Home Depot. He's telling everybody how to remodel their bathrooms. And he was just like any of us. He had projects that just never got done. And we told stories. I think I probably talked about Cabo, and we told good stories, and we just remembered him. And that, I think, in hearing Darren's story was probably very good and very helpful for everybody that was there. So what I did wasn't all bad. So ultimately, those are the types of things that you should do. Now, what Darren was saying that was the most helpful, some of the things people said were things like, instead of how are you doing, it's how are you holding up? I know this has got to be absolutely terrible, and you're probably dreading getting through every day. How are you holding up? That's a good thing. Talking to him about, you know what? His son's name was Esteban. I remember going out. They lived in Southern California, and they used to surf. I remember going out surfing with you guys. And I remember that time he got that wave and this happened or that happened. Meaning telling stories about that. One of the most powerful things one of his friends did is on a 1-year anniversary of Esteban's death, which just passed not too long ago. They flew the family out. I think there were 19 people went out to Hawaii. And in Hawaii, they do a ceremony that the surfers do. And they scatter wreaths, the flowers in the ocean. And it's basically a way of saying goodbye to a loved one. 19 people showed up. 19 people flew to Hawaii and did this. It's kind of like the golf tournament. Powerful. I can imagine what his parents felt when people were telling stories, celebrating his son. Painful still, I'm sure. the ultimate pain. But how powerful. Other things he said that were helpful were, and I don't know why he said this one, to be honest, but somebody said to him that they admire him. They admire how he's handling this, how they're handling this tragedy at the worst time of their life. He said that was for some reason very helpful. And something about, we all want to be looked up to or admired. And he said, for some reason while I was grieving, that hit home. And it felt especially good because inside he felt like he was barely able to get through the day. Another thing he said that was helpful is, I think about your son often. And here's what he makes me think of. One of his friends did a video for him, and he went to the beach, and he talked about surfing, and he talked about the times that he knew he had with his son. The thing that was so thoughtful about this video, one, this guy didn't live at the beach. He had to drive out, I think it was 20 minutes to get to the beach. And he did this video, and he talked in depth about this. And then he sent the video, and he said, I know you're going through just the worst time in the world. Whenever you have time, whenever it's right for you, watch this video that I created for you. So he could watch it at his time. He could grieve in privacy. And he could tell his friends were there for him. Okay, another thing he said that really hit home. We all get uncomfortable when people are shedding tears. I'm uncomfortable fighting back tears here. Why? I don't know. We're supposed to be guys. We're supposed to be tough. I shared with you a story before where I talked about my wife. She thinks I never shed tears, but I'm the one that's on the couch watching a sad movie and quietly hiding that I'm wiping a tear away. And she has no idea who I am, I think, sometimes. Like, I'm a very emotional guy. One of the things that Darren shared was allow the grieving person to shed tears in front of you. It's uncomfortable. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. Be there for them. That's all you can do. But let them get it out. Encourage it. Hug them. That's one of the more powerful things that you can do. The other thing was, everybody reaches out. Everybody says, they share stories. They have time together, celebration of life. There's a lot of activity in the beginning, and people are coming over constantly. Don't ask, can I bring something? Never show up empty-handed. But the things that they need are a little different than we might think. He said one of his friends they went to Costco or somewhere, obviously, and they brought just reams and reams of water. People are visiting you constantly. You're running out of things like water and drinks and forks and knives and all the food that people are eating. And you don't want to get out of bed, let alone go to the store to buy more supplies. So don't ask, guess what they need and just bring it. And in America, the tradition is we bring food. This gentleman never understood that tradition. He understands it now because, boy, making a meal was a chore. And having food brought to you and having food that you could serve to others, that was a massive help. So bring stuff. Show up, bring stuff. And then another one that some are better at than others, but it's keep in touch. Keep reaching out. After the funeral, the memorial service, they don't stop grieving. They don't ever stop. On Bruce's Facebook page, which I looked at kind of in this process of me preparing and remembering Bruce, and his Facebook page is still up. And his mom celebrates his birthday every year, celebrates when he got married, remembers him on the date that he passed away. Reach out to them. Let them know you're thinking of their son. They don't want their son or daughter or mom or dad or friend to be forgotten. So let them know. So this podcast, Patrice, I don't think I've let you get a word in.
I have chosen not to. But I have done 2-3 tissues.
Yeah, looking at my notes of kind of Darren's talk, I think I covered most of what he brought up. His son Esteban, I think it's just heart-wrenching, like having that happen. Bruce was 41, 42. I can't imagine what Walt and Pat went through. But 14 years old, a gun accident, visiting a relative on, I don't know if it was Facebook Live or Zoom or whatever it was, but he was literally on having fun with his friends, and something happened and the gun went off. And I mean, how terrible is that? And by the way, don't talk to the grieving one in a situation like that about gun rights or gun control or any of that crap. That is an absolute slap in the face. Get your politics the hell out of there. People did that. Oh my God.
Oh my God, it's right.
It's not about fault. It's not about anything political. Be there for them. So just, this is a hard one. Nobody teaches us this stuff. And thinking a little bit about it, being a little bit strategic to be there for them can be so much comfort for them. So
now, Terry, wait a minute. I've gone through 3 tissues here today. Okay. Why did you feel the need to talk like this? What prompted this? Just Bruce's anniversary?
No, I mean, that hit home. But Darren's talk was so touching to me.
Mm-hmm.
He pointed out things I didn't realize. I didn't know how to talk to somebody that was grieving. I didn't realize what I did wrong back then, what I did right back then. I never thought of it in that context, but I'm an estate planning attorney and a wealth planner. I deal with teaching people how to prepare for what happens when you pass away. I never have dealt with or prepared the families that I care for how to deal with somebody that's grieving. And it's important. So this podcast leaped everything I was doing. It's the first one that I've recorded since I've been back. And it just happens to coincide with Bruce's memorial. The anniversary is April 7th. And my goal is to have this released on April 7th. But what prompted it was Darren. This is me paying it forward what he gave to all of us in that audience. And there wasn't a dry eye in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
It's, if you're not feeling it, you're not human. If you're not feeling it, I apologize. But how can you not feel it? So that's what prompted it. He's taking what happened to his son and trying to get an inkling of good out of it. And part of how he's doing that is he's trying to teach people how to communicate and how to help somebody who is grieving. So I'm hoping to help him spread that word through this podcast.
All right. Well, listeners can reach you through the contact info in the show notes. And we ask you to make sure that you follow this podcast for more love.
Yeah, thank you, Patrice. And sorry for not letting you get a word in edgewise, but
tissues, baby, tissues.
Yeah, I didn't know how this one was go. As usual, I just talked.
It was great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.